and Tzadik Hayim at base. That's 95B. We're going to start. Let's see, it's about 9 lines from the bottom. On the bottom. Tana de Bey Menashe. Okay, what did we learn before? That if someone finds tefillin on Shabbos in an area that would he's either
You froze.
okay. In the end, we said that the explanation for Rabbi Gamliel was that he holds that there is place on the head to fit 2 pairs of tefillin, and there's place on the arm to fit 2 pairs of tefillin. Two arm tefillins, not one for each arm, but one on his pairs of tefillin. We'll see. Tana de Bey Menashe was stored in the yeshiva of Menashe because it's one of the Tanoim. Al Yadcha Zuki Beiris. Arm on your hand, you put the tefillin. It's referring to the kibayris. It doesn't mean on the hand, on the palm. It means up here by the biceps. Beinenecha, when it says between your eyes, zukadkad, it doesn't mean mamish between your eyes. It means on the crown of the head, in the area that's between the eyes. Okay. Heicha, where is that on the head? Oh, good morning. It's until the area that on a baby's head would be soft. Comment on, but apparently the skull like merges together as the baby grows. That part of the head of the skull is soft up until
Everybody hold on there. Rabbi Smith is aware of the technical difficulties.
So the broadcast on Zoom shortly.
Dr. Stein, now's the time you're supposed to tell the jokes. It's not even on. Who else is funny? Who else knows jokes? Daniel, I find you probably know some jokes. Yossi drew in those jokes. Riddles. Yossi, give us a riddle.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Okay, I'm in.
All right, broadcast resuming.
Okay. Do you hear me through the through this? Okay, let's put this there. Head and no, we're talking about being on Shabbos. No, we're talking about carrying on Shabbos. Question is, why does one opinion? Okay. The Tanakama Leslie the Reb Shmuel Bar Yitzchak. The Tanakama holds that it only fits one pair. Rabbi Gamliel Leslie the Reb Shmuel Bar Yitzchak, and Rabbi Gamliel holds Reb Shmuel Bar Yitzchak that head can fit two pairs. The Gemara says like that's not the machlekes. It's not the machlekes about the size of the person's head or the size of the tefillin and the relationship. The Kuli Alma Yislu the Reb Shmuel Bar Yitzchak. Everyone holds that the head could fit two pairs of tefillin. Here, it's a halachic discussion regarding if tefillin is supposed to be worn on Shabbos. Now, this is a little surprising. We thought you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos, but on the next Amud, it's going to go through the background to why you don't wear tefillin. And it's very possible that on Shabbos you are supposed to wear tefillin. We have to wait for that. But right now, it's a discussion. How many pairs of tefillin you can wear is a discussion on if you're supposed to be wearing tefillin on Shabbos anyway. The Tanakama Savar Shabbos man tefillinu. Tanakama holds that Shabbos is a time for tefillin. Shabbos is a time for tefillin. Back, I could go back to the computer now. I'll leave it on the phone. Shabbos is a time for tefillin, which means that when I put on tefillin, I'm fulfilling the mitzvah. If I put on another pair, two pairs of tefillin, I'm violating Bal Taisif. And on Shabbos, I'm only allowed to carry. Bal Taisif makes it like a double problem. First of all, don't put on a second pair you're not supposed to. Also, if you do put on a second pair, you're carrying. So it creates a double issue. But Shabbos is not a time for tefillin. So there's no Bal Taisif. Because it's not even the time for tefillin. Look, if I shake a lulav and esrog today, I'm not violating Bal Taisif. It's not a mitzvah. It's nothing. It's only if it's a mitzvah and I'm doing an extra one. So that's going to be an issue. So over here, according to Rabbi Gamliel, there's no mitzvah. There's no Bal Taisif. So 1 second. So why are you allowed to wear it at all? If it's no mitzvah, so why then you shouldn't be allowed to wear it. So he holds that it's a tachshit. It's considered like a decoration. It's like a now, once it's a tachshit, then I can wear two. Some people wear two earrings, double piercing. So they can also wear two tefillin. Okay. Iba Yasema, if you want, we could say another way of explaining the machlekes, if you're allowed to carry one or two pairs, the Kuli Alma Shabbos man tefillinu. Everyone holds Shabbos is a time for tefillin. So how could Rabbi Gamliel say that you can have two pairs? Here the machlekes is, does it require kavana? Okay, now we're going to read the Gemara as it's printed, but we'll explain it the way Rashi's gear says. So Tanakama Savar Latzis by kavana. Tanakama holds that in order to fulfill the mitzvah, let me finish the reading and then we'll do it. So, but lots is by kavana. We also have a light by kavana. Okay, Rashi comes along and says it's impossible to learn it like this because it doesn't fit. He says that we have to adjust it entirely. It's mamish the opposite. It's the bottom Rashi if you want to look at that. Where does he switch the pshat? Venerally, 3 lines from the bottom. The Hachi Garsinan says Tanakama Savar Mitzvahs Ein Tzrichas Kavana. Exactly the opposite of the printed version. Tanakama holds mitzvahs don't require kavana. That means once I put on the tefillin, it doesn't matter what I'm thinking about, what my intention is. I'm automatically fulfilling the mitzvah. Yeah. Well, by the film campaign, the people protested against the film campaign, and they said if he's not a religious Jew, he's not having the kavana. The Rebbe said just the opposite. If it's his first time putting it on, he's really having kavana. So here the Tanakhama holds really that you don't need any kavana. Now that creates a problem because if I put on tefillin without kavana, I'm fulfilling the mitzvah. That means if I put on a second pair, I'm violating Bal Taisif. You shall not add to the mitzvahs. So that's why they hold you can only have one pair. Yeah, but everyone holds, in this way of learning, everyone holds tefillin is yes one on Shabbos. So Ram Gamliel Savar, I'm sorry, I have to read it differently. Ram Gamliel Savar Tzrichas Kavana, that it requires kavana. That means that if I don't have kavana to fulfill the mitzvah, then it's not a mitzvah. It's not a violation of Bal Taisif. So I can wear 2 pairs. No, yeah, I'm allowed to put on tefillin more than once a day. Yeah. Yeah. No, in the olden days they would wear tefillin all day. Would you make a new bracha each time? That depends on the hefsek. Right.
But you didn't. So to take a bracha each time, to do the mitzvah each time that you don't do multiple times in a day. So it's very.
I don't know. I would have to find out from those people that wear tefillin for mincha. There are people in Yerushalayim that wear tefillin for mincha. If they put on with the bracha.
But if they take it off, they make the second bracha.
Right.
Right? But as long as they're wearing it.
Right. So here, what would we say? That he doesn't fulfill the mitzvah if he doesn't have kavanah to fulfill the mitzvah. If he doesn't have kavanah to fulfill the mitzvah, it's not a mitzvah, and therefore it's not a problem of Bal Taisif. That's the way we'll explain this. It's very difficult to learn it the way that it's printed. Rashi has a bunch of questions on the printed. Okay. Viba Yisema, we're on top of Tzadik Vav. We have another pshat. If you want, we can say it differently. The Kuli Amalat says Loi Bai Kavana. To fulfill a mitzvah, you don't need kavana. Oh, this is interesting. Question is, what about Bal Taisif? Tanakama Savar, so really, you're yaitze the mitzvah right away. Lavar mishum Bal Taisif by kavana. You're automatically violating the rule of if you put on 2 pairs of tefillin, you're automatically violating Bal Taisif, even without kavana. Gamliel holds that for it to be Bal Taisif, for it to be a prohibition, you have to have kavana that you're fulfilling the mitzvah. To do the mitzvah, I don't need kavana, but to make it to the extent that it's a prohibition, that I would have to have kavana that I'm fulfilling the mitzvah. Tanakam is more consistent there. Tanakam says, look, you don't need kavana for anything, so automatically it's a prohibition. Like for Rabbi Gamliel, I don't need kavana to fulfill the mitzvah, but if I want to violate, but if it's going to be a prohibition of violating Bal Taisif, for that I have to have direct kavana.
Even according to the opinion that's in this, why can't we just do it?
No, according to the opinion that it's a mitzvah to wear tefillin on Shabbos.
Yeah.
So
Just want to be worried about.
so one pair I can for sure wear. The second pair becomes a problem Baltaisa.
No, but I'm not wearing it so. I'm wearing it.
It's
And now you have to
interesting.
worry about.
You're asking a good question. Avram Nosson is asking a question. Why don't I wear the tefillin specifically with kavana not to be yaitza?
This is my question also.
When you say the mitzvah, so now you open up the problem. Everyone wear the clothing if when the time comes.
Am I turning on here?
I got reading for this.
Let's see. I'm back here. Second. Okay. Okay, so that question, I believe, is a question that the Ketzais asks. No, it's not. Yeah. Okay, I remember Joshua. This is what I spoke about at my bar mitzvah. And I remember that there was a Ketzais Achayshon that asked that I could be specifically yaitza. He holds that if you have kavana not to be, no one holds that if you have kavana not to be yaitza, that you against your will you're yaitza. So if I have kavana not to be yaitza, then I can take in even more than one pair of tefillin, even according to the Tanna Kama. That's his question. Okay, it was from was it's good. We're back to yeah. Okay. On the Shabbos man tefillin. Okay, now we're saying that there's a possibility that this is a time for tefillin. The kol yalma loy laver boy kavana v'loy lotzis boy kavana. Everyone would be consistent. If Shabbos is a time for tefillin, the mitzvah Shabbos without kavana, and I would violate Bal Tosef without kavana, like the Tanna Kama held before, like Rav Meir. Hacha here, Shabbos we hold now is not the time for tefillin. You're putting on tefillin Shabbos. By kavana, the Tanna Kama holds that I don't need kavana to fulfill the mitzvah. Therefore, what does that tell me? Violation. I don't need kavana. Automatically, it's a violation of Bal Tosef. If I put on two pairs of tefillin, automatically it's a violation. Ram Gamliel says no. No. It's because. One second. If Shabbos is if I do a mitzvah on a day that's not the day of the mitzvah? That's the question. So the Tanna Kama holds that performing a mitzvah on a day that's not the mitzvah could also be a violation of Baal Taisif. And it says, Laver shlei bizmani by kavana. That if you want to, if you're performing a mitzvah on a day that's not the correct day of the mitzvah, then there's no Baal Taisif there. The lulav of today is not Baal Taisif. It's only if I clearly have intention that I want to fulfill the mitzvah, then it's going to be Baal. According to Rambam, I don't have intention to fulfill, not the day, and you can wear 2 pairs of tefillin. The Gemara says, Yihachi. The Gemara has a question. 1 second. L'Reb Meir, Baal Taisif shouldn't only be when I wear 2 pairs. Baal Taisif is just the fact that you're wearing it on a, you're not supposed to wear it. That's also Baal Taisif. Gives an example. The next example is explains this. He says, Va'id, another question. Hayashim b'shmin. We hold when it comes to Shmini Atzeres.
Is it frozen again? Oh.
Yeah, I can't hear Rabbi Yismi anymore.
Sorry about that. Okay, this should be good. Here we go. Oh, this is crazy. Okay. The way I'll have it automatically. Connect the sound. Thanks. Technical difficulties. Okay. Let's try it like that. So we're holding now with the question. I mean, the should automatically get marked. Why? Because it's possibly, if you count from the first day, then it's the wrong day, and you're in the sukkah for 7 days. You're dwelling in the sukkah for 8 days. So therefore, if someone wears tefillin on Shabbos, if Shabbos is Lav's man tefillin, you should get it should be Bal Taisif automatic. Means white. The best pshat is, as we said before, which was that it's machlekes if Shabbos is man tefillin. Shabbos, the Tanakam is going to hold Shabbos is man tefillin, and therefore there's Bal Taisif. You can only wear one. Rabbi Gamliel, Shabbos.
Rabbi, I think you're better off without the video, at least we can hear you.
I didn't hear. Okay. Let's go further. Uman Shamat laid the Shabbos early, what we need to get into. Holds that. You should guard this statute for its time. From day, 2 ways of learning this. The Gemara says Yamim v'lei leiles. It says when it says Yamim, it means days include nights. You only wear tefillin by day. You don't wear tefillin by night, according to this first opinion. Then it goes on one more step. It says mi yamim, from days, but not all days. V'lei kol yamim, not all days. Not all days. It's excluding Shabbos and Yom Tov that you don't wear tefillin. That's the opinion of Rabbi Glili. Because hold on. You see that what's going on here is the part before this said Vigadat Levincha, or 2 psukim before this. Shivas Yom Techel Matzis, B'Yom Mashiach Lashem Matzis Yeyachal, Vigadat Levincha, and then it goes on to talk about tefillin. And it says you should guard this law from year to year, from time to time, at the year to year. Once a year. Yamim doesn't mean actual, it means from year to year. Am I being heard on this? I don't think I'm being heard.
It's a little bit. It's better if you take off the video, I think.
Oh, I didn't hear
what was going on then.
it went off.
Well, now we have 2, but if you take off the video, then the audio comes out more clearly.
Like that? Like that?
Yeah, but now we have 2. Yeah, I think that's good. But I would take off the video altogether. I would just have just the audio.
That?
Yeah, I think that's going to be better.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So now, I'm hearing you.
Did you hear me there?
Crazy. I'm hearing through this ear thing, and I don't know if I'm getting it through the. Whatever. You tell me if there's a problem. I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to take off.
Doug's just trying to tell jokes. Where are you, in a library?
Who are you talking to?
Talking to you. Okay, quickly, let's play Where in the World is Moshe Druin? What airport?
This should work. Do you hear me now?
I say Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you well.
Okay, you can turn up your sound so it doesn't come through.
Nobody who actually attended the chairperson any technical.
So we just learned a machlekes between Rabbi Yossi Haglili and Rabbi Akiva regarding the pasuk v'shemarta sachuka zayis l'maya dam yamim yamim, if it's talking about tefillin or if it's talking about. According to Rabbi Yossi Haglili, it's referring to tefillin, and miyamim yamima teaches me that you don't wear tefillin by night and you don't wear it on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Yamim, it's only by day, and miyamim, it's not all days. Rabbi Akiva says no, it's only talking about the Pesach. Now, what does that mean? According to Rabbi Akiva, it's only talking about the Pesach. It's not referring to tefillin. That means I have no limitation on tefillin. Tefillin is worn by night. Tefillin is worn on Shabbos and Yom Tov, according to Rabbi Akiva. You were asking, what's the source for wearing tefillin on Shabbos? That Shabbos man tefillin. It's Rabbi Akiva. He says miyamim yamima is only the carbon Pesach. It's very interesting. According to this view, women would be wearing tefillin. That's not our discussion. Because why would women be wearing tefillin? Because it's not a mitzvah cessations man grama, but because it's a constant mitzvah. You do it by night and you do it on Shabbos and Yom Tov. What we're bringing out is that when you wear it on Shabbos, you're fulfilling the mitzvah, and then you have to be concerned about Bal Taisuf. But 1 second, we have a Mishnah. Pesach v'amila mitzvah say Korban Pesach and the Bris Milah. Those are positive commands. Leimad like Rabbi Akiva. We'll have to say that it doesn't fit with Rabbi Akiva. The Rabbi Akiva, given the Mukalim Pesach, Lav Nami Ika, there's a problem over here. What is the pasuk? V'shamarta sachuka zayis. You should guard. What does it mean, guard? You should make sure that you don't neglect this. Rav Avin says, in the name of Rabbi Loi, that anytime it says Hishamer pen or al, any of those words, it's automatically a mitzvah sleisas. Why does there a Tanaic source says that the Korban Pesach and Mila are the only two mitzvahs asay that have kares. Usually kares, the punishment of kares, excision, is for a negative prohibition. And if it's violated on purpose, there's kares. If it's violated by mistake, it's a chatas. But I have two exceptions to that, which is Mila and Pesach. Those are the two exceptions, that there's kares, but there's no chatas b'shegi. And the reason for that is because the mitzvah saseh, according to Rabbi Akiva, it's not a mitzvah saseh, it's a mitzvah slay saseh. Why? Because it says Hishamer. It doesn't say the word Hishamer, it says Vishamarta. According to this pasuk, according to what he's learning, it's referring to Korban Pesach. The Gemara answers, Afil Tim Rabbi Akiva. It's possible that it's still Rabbi Akiva. It says Hishamer. Could be Rabbi Akiva that holds this, and Hishamer the lav, Hishamer the asay. Still could be Rabbi Akiva holds that on Shabbos is Usman Tefillin. And I Korban Pesach, how could it be that it's a positive command? It says, yeah, Hishamer is depends. Pen and al, less pen means less you, and al means don't. That's clearly a negative prohibition. But Hishamer means you should be careful, you should guard. That depends what it's talking about. If it's talking about Hishamer benega tzaras pen tichre, be careful, don't cut off the tzaras. Good. But if it says Hishamer to bring the Korban Pesach, so then that's a positive command. Depends what it's referring to. Okay. V'sava Rabbi Akiva Shabbos man tefillin. Now we have a question. Rabbi Akiva really holds that Shabbos is a time for tefillin, but Tanya but it's taught in a brayso. Rabbi Akiva yachol yinichadem tefillin b'Shabbos v'yom tovim. Maybe you should put on tefillin on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Talmud Lema v'yol chalois al yadcha. Mishat tzichanais yatzuelu shein gufanais. You don't put on tefillin on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Shabbos and you only put on tefillin on days that require a sign that you're connected to Hashem. But Shabbos and Yom Tov, that itself is a sign that you're connected to Hashem. The fact that it's Shabbos, the fact that it's Yom Tov. Now, there's a discussion here if it refers to the prohibition of work that connects you, or if it's just the day that connects you, the holiness of the day. So, that's a discussion regarding wearing tefillin on Chol Hamoed. Is Chol Hamoed considered the sign as well? So, a lot of Ashkenaz wears tefillin on Chol Hamoed. And Sfardim and Chassidim don't wear tefillin on Chol Hamoed. The Beis Yosef says that it's based on the Zohar. The Zohar tells us that you don't wear tefillin on Chol Hamoed. It's also considered a sign. We're also automatically connected to Hashem, and you don't need the tefillin. Then the Beis Yosef writes that if the Ashkenazi Paiskim, which is the Rosh, if he would have seen the Zohar, then he would also have agreed to this, because from the Zohar it's clear that the Zohar was lost for several hundred years. So it's lost until Moshe de Leon discovered it in the 1200s. Something like that. Okay. So we have a clear statement from Rabbi Akiva that you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos. What are you telling me? Rabbi Akiva holds Shabbos is man tefillin because he tells me that Miyam Yamim is talking about a Korban Pesach. I have another source, a separate source, nothing to do with that Vishamarta Esachuka Azais. Nothing to do with that. You anyways don't wear tefillin on Shabbos. So we need a new support, a new Tana that holds that you wear tefillin on Shabbos in order for us to understand this Mishnah. Elahai Tanahu, the Tanya, it's the following Tana. It says, Haneir Balayla, someone that's awake by night. We don't wear tefillin at night because the body isn't as clean. A person could fall asleep and he would pass gas, which is not respectful for tefillin. So if someone is awake by night, so then Ratzah Chaylet Ratzah Miniach. If he wants, he could take off his tefillin. If he wants, he could even put on his tefillin. That's the opinion of Reb Nassim. Why? Because he's awake by night. You're allowed to wear tefillin by night. It's just as a problem that you may fall asleep and it won't be respectful. So, but if you're awake anyway, so it's not a problem. You don't put on the tefillin by night. It doesn't say you have to take it off. He says you don't put on tefillin by night. So according to the first Tana, Midalayla Latana Kama Zman Tefillin, Shabbos Nami Zman Tefillin. It must be, if he holds that you wear tefillin by night, he probably holds that you wear tefillin on Shabbos also. Because where did we get that you don't wear tefillin by night? From Vishamarta Schukazais Mi Yamim Yamima, that it's only Yamim B'lay Leilas. What is it? Mi Yamim, that told me Shabbos and only some days, but not Shabbos and Yom Tov. So if I say that pasuk is talking about tefillin, then it automatically excludes night and Yom Tov, Shabbos and Yom Tov. But if it's not talking about tefillin, and I can wear tefillin by night, then probably I can wear tefillin on Shabbos. I'm supposed to wear tefillin on Shabbos. Umar says, one second, you just went through this already. Dilma Svirle Lilas man tefillin. Shabbos Labs man tefillin. Maybe he holds that by night. There's no proof of this. Maybe he holds by night you wear tefillin, but you don't wear it on Shabbos. Look, we just went through this. Rabbi Akiva holds that pasuk b'shamatis because the Yamim Yamim is talking about the Karban Pesach, nothing to do with tefillin. So he obviously holds that you can wear tefillin by night, but nevertheless he had a separate source, unrelated source, that you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos and Yom Tov. So what are you telling me, a brisa that says that you wear tefillin by night, and you're trying to tell me that means that you wear tefillin on Shabbos? Rabbi Akiva holds that you wear tefillin by night, and you still don't wear tefillin. So the fact that you wear tefillin by night doesn't mean that you wear tefillin on Shabbos. Okay. Ella Haitana, we need another. Tani was taught in a brisa. Michal Bas Kushi. Michal, the daughter of Shaul. Kushi was also called Kushi. Also over there that says, what's it? Kush Ben Yemini. So this was stuff its wife. Aisa Menachas tefillin. So she would wear tefillin. Michal Bachacham didn't protest. The Yishli Shal Yaina Isaila the Regal. And Yaina, the prophet, right? Yona the whale. His wife would be Ayla Regal. She would go to the Beis Hamikdash. That was only a mitzvah for men. So, well, not Hakel, but Ayla Regal, the holiday. And the Chachamim didn't protest. Since they didn't protest, if they didn't protest on Michal Bashal when she wears tefillin, why didn't they protest? Why didn't they say, take off the tefillin? You're not supposed to be wearing tefillin. It must be because they held that tefillin is a mitzvah. Say it's a positive command that's not restricted by time. It's not restricted by time. Then it must mean that you wear it by night and you also wear it on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Here's the source that tefillin is worn on Shabbos man tefillin.
Even a woman may not be chayav tefillin because it's mitzvah say she's my grandma, but she can still wear it. She wants to.
That's going to be the next Gemara. Very good.
Right, she was wearing it because of the child, but because he was dancing, right? And he said,
I don't know if that's associated. Is that why she was wearing it? I think she was
that's what it says here, that she's wearing it because it's connected with having children.
Oh, because she wanted to have children?
Yes.
So that's why she wore it? Where's that quote from?
Ben.
Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know, Daniela, I don't know if you read that book, If All the Seas Were Ink. Remember that? Anyway, it's this lady that's doing the Daf Yomi, and she writes this as her memoir. Anyway, she wasn't religious, but like conservative or something, egalitarian. So she's putting on tefillin, and she's standing next to her husband putting on tefillin. Anyway, I'm telling to my wife like what's going on in the book that I'm reading. So my daughter's listening. She says, "Why is she wearing tefillin?" I said, "She's not from." So my daughter said, "Oh, that makes sense." Okay. So anyway, turns out that it's if it's a mitzvah say shalayas man grama, then Michal Bashal can wear it, and so that's a source. When it says the Dilma Savala Krabyaisi, Avnasan, this is your question. Maybe she holds like not she. Maybe they all hold that it's acceptable for Michal Bashal to wear tefillin because they hold like Krabyaisi. The Menashim Saim Ches Rishus. Okay, when it comes to bringing a carbon, you're supposed to be smicha on the carbon. You put your hands on the carbon, you lean on it. But it says Daber al Bnei Yisrael that only the men do it. Now Rabbi Yossi holds, I know only the men do it, but he holds that they're allowed to do it. Men are obligated, but women are allowed. That's your question. Maybe just because men are obligated in tefillin doesn't mean that women cannot. So just because Michal Bashal is wearing tefillin doesn't mean that Shabbos is a time for tefillin. Right? Really, you don't wear tefillin by night. Let's say you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos. It's a regular mitzvah, man grama, but they can accept on themselves. They can do it. It's a volunteer. If you don't say that this is the pshat, that they can accept on themselves extra things. So Ishta Shel Yaina Isa'ilu the Regav Michaba. Yaina Hanavi, Yaina Ben Amitai, Yaina Hanavi's wife is going up to be Oila Regal. She's going to the Beis Hamikdash. They don't tell her anything. Does anyone hold
that you have to be on the regal the whole year. It's not a mitzvah. No one holds that you go to the base of Mikdash the whole year. There's no such thing. It must be that they're to take on themselves voluntary things. It must be this is the pshat. It's because it's a volunteer. So here also, it's not a support that Shabbos is a time for tefillin. It must be a different opinion. It goes like this: the Tanya Maitzi tefillin machnisim zug zug. Sounds very familiar. If you find tefillin, you bring one pair in at a time. You wear it in. If you find tefillin in a place out that could be disrespectful to it, it could get ruined. This is a brisa. It's not our Mishnah. It says whether it's a man or a woman, they could wear the tefillin and they could bring it in, whether it's new, whether it's old. Rabbi Yehuda says that you can't wear new ones. Umatir be yeshanos, but you can wear old ones. We'll explain shortly what that's going on. We explained in the Mishnah what it is. But the Gemara explains this price like this. Ad kan like legela b'chadashas v'yeshanos. There's a machlekes Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. What's the machlekes about? If you're supposed to protect the new tefillin that you find, everyone says the old tefillin you bring it, and everyone also says aval b'isha like legi. Clearly that it's mitzvah man grama, shalayas man grama, and women are allowed to wear the tefillin in. You didn't resolve anything. You're back exactly to the same place where you started before, and we said about that. How do you know? How do you know that it's women are obligated in tefillin, and that's why they're allowed to wear it in on Shabbos? Maybe they're not obligated in tefillin. Why are they not obligated? Because you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos. It's a mitzvah shalayas man grama. Why are they wearing it over here? Well, they can wear it if they want it. They can wear it. So it's no support to tell me that what's the din of tefillin on Shabbos. The fact that a woman is wearing tefillin, women can wear it if they want to put it on. Umar says, don't think like that. Neither of them hold like Rabbi Yossi that a woman is allowed to just do a volunteer mitzvah. Rabbi Meir doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi that they can just volunteer because it says in a Mishnah, you don't stop children from blowing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. No, it's not a mitzvah, but if they're playing with it, they're just blowing. Okay, you let them blow. Hanashim, but women, ma'akrin. V'stam masnisin Reb Meir. It says you don't stop children from blowing. Children aren't mechuyev, especially if they're le'yigiyah l'chinuch, they're not up on the age, and they're playing with the shofar and they're blowing it. You're allowed to let them blow. But women, there's a diuk here. But if the woman would want to blow, it looks like you would stop them from blowing. Now, why would I stop them from blowing? Maybe they would just want to volunteer to perform the mitzvah. Women don't have to hear shofar because it's a mitzvah seishas man grama. You only do it on Rosh Hashanah. It's a time-bound mitzvah. It sounds like that if they would want to do the mitzvah, I would have to stop them. Why? Because Reb Meir, who's the Tana of this, it's a Stam Mishnah. He holds that you have to stop a woman from performing a volunteer mitzvah, a mitzvah that she's not obligated in doing. So Rashi points out that it's not really a chilul yomtov if they blow it anyway, but nevertheless, it looks like they're taking on an extra mitzvah, and that's not what we want them to do according to this. Rabbi Yehuda also doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi. The Tanya was taught in the Brisa. Dabral b'nei Yisrael v'samach b'nei Yisrael semchen b'nei Yisrael semches. Rabbi Yossi Reb Shimon Nashim Chasemches Rishos. Rabbi Yehuda is exactly the opinion that argues with regarding smicha, that if women are allowed to do smicha on the carbon, where Rabbi Yossi says that they can, and Rabbi Yehuda says that they can't. So, yeah, if they're allowed to lean on it. If leaning on it would be an issue. Now, Vistam Sifra Mani, Rabbi Yehuda. You see, it didn't say Rabbi Yehuda's name in there. It just says Stam. Now, this is from the Teres Kayanim. This is the Brisa on Sefer Vayikra. It's called the Sifra, the book. So if that's the case, that this is from the Sifra, we know that Stam Sifra is Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Lai. He's whenever there's an anonymous Sifra, it follows Rabbi Yehuda. So if that's the case, then Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir both hold that a woman can't take on a voluntary mitzvah. Okay, Amar Rabbi Lazar. Did we come out before this with a real source for wearing tefillin on Shabbos? Yeah. What's our source? Our source is this brisa here. Hamaitzi tefillin, that women can wear it in as well. Maybe they're just volunteering. Well, Rab Meir and Rab Yehuda hold that women can't volunteer. It must be that they're obligated. That's the Gemara's conclusion. Why are they obligated? Because you wear tefillin on Shabbos and you wear it at night. So therefore, it's not a mitzvah man gramas. Women are obligated. Okay, Rabbi Lazar says like this. Rabbi Lazar is Rabbi Lazar ben Pedas. He's an Amira. He's a student of Rabbi Yochanan. Says if someone finds tchelas b'shuk, not tefillin now. Now we're talking about dyed wool, the blue dye. L'shaynes psulas chutin ksherin. Depends what he found. If he found tongues of wool, that means like big puffs of wool. Big, it's not spun yet. Unspun wool, then it's puzzle. But if it's just strings, then it's kosher. If you just found if you found it's already turned into strings, then it's kosher. Now, the problem here is that we don't know if it's dyed for tzitzis or not, l'shem mitzvah. It could be that it was dyed just for, I don't know what, for a jacket. But if it's strings, then we assume that it was dyed l'shma. What's the difference? Why do we say that if it's in tongues of wool, that it's not considered kosher? Because probably he dyed it for a jacket. He wants a blue jacket. Maybe the strings were also dyed. He was going to sew it into the jacket. How do you know? Why are you saying it's automatically tzitzis? Where it says b'shazurin, it's not the type of threads that would be used in a jacket. It's shazurin. It's twisted threads that's just used as strings. Shazur nami nema adaita desifsa deklima I maybe it's tied into strings that look like tzitzis strings, but it's made for the edge of the hem, which you use those strings on the hem. So my answer has been mufsakin. Talking about that it was cut to tzitzis size. So, well, the kuli hai vada leitarchi inchi. No one's going to go and then tie those tzitzis size strings into a ball of threads like that then he's going to be able to use at the hem of the garment, because that's too much of a bother. Now, Amar Rava says on this, we mentioned that there's this machlaikas, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. If you find in our Mishnah, it's was anonymous, right? Everyone held that only old tefillin is what you protect on Shabbos. New tefillin, you don't protect. What's the problem with new tefillin? We're saying that it may have been used as an amulet. Now, the problem is, would someone go through the effort to make an amulet out of tefillin? There's a lot of bother that the Tanan, okay, l'chadash is pater. So if I accept Rebbe Lazar, that says that no one would go through the effort to tie strings together to make it for a jacket. So would someone go through the effort to make tefillin that it should end up being just an amulet? If it's not the mitzvah, no one would do that. Amar Rab Zera la'ava brei puktanilu. Rab Zera says to his son Ava, this is Ava or Rab Zera, go out and teach the following brisa. Hamaitzi tchilas b'shuk b'senis p'sulin chutin mufsakin ksherin l'fi she'in adam tereach. You're asking me a kasha on Rebbe Lazar? I have a brisa that supports Rebbe Lazar. The fact is that no one would bother themselves to tie it together. I have a brisa that says it. Rava was trying to ask on Rebbe Lazar, if Rebbe Lazar is correct that no one would bother themselves to tie it together, then why by tefillin do we say that it's that no one that there's a concern that someone would do that? It must be that Rabbi Elazar is not correct. So Rabbi Zera says no, Rabbi Elazar is correct. I have a brisa that supports him. Amar Rava mishum detani la'ava brei de Rabbi Zera tipi talilai, because there's a brisa that that Rabbi Zera taught to his son, or that Ava Breder Rabbi Zera is teaching, so that's like pearls hanging around his neck. I have to accept it. But Tanan Bamidvar Mur Biyashanis Ava L'Chadash is Pater. The Mishnah says that I have a Mishnah as well that says it, and it doesn't have that part in it that says Mufsakin, that it's only because it was cut. In other words, it could be that the discussion here is different. In Elam Rava says Tarach v'lei Tarach Tanayi. Really, there's a machlekes here if a person would bother himself or not. It's not like Rabbi Elazar says. It's really a machlekes. The Tanya Meitzit Tefillin Machnisin Zug Zug Echad Yesh v'Echad Yisha Echad Chadash v'Echad Yishanis Tiv Rab Meir Rabbi Yehuda Yisah b'Chadash l'Mater b'Yishanis. Rabbi Yehuda says. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that says that only older tefillin is what you save, but not the new tefillins. You don't save that. Alma mar savar tarachinish, mar savar le tarachinish. There's a machlekes. Would a person bother himself to make tefillin, and he's just going to use it as an amulet? According to Rabbi Yehuda, he would, and according to Rabbi Meir, he won't. Okay, we'll leave it over here.
Depends on how much you can get for it.
Right.
There's share tomorrow?
There's no share tomorrow. We'll learn on Sunday at 6 o'clock.